When I connect the power to the TV, its power indicator light is not flashing. The problem is not common at all. So now let's try to understand where is the problem of the board. Its SMPS transformer has a single coil in its secondary. Its one terminal is connected to the ground or 12 volt negative supply, and this terminal is connected to the anode of this diode. So 12 volts will be output from its cathode. So now let's check the 12 volt output here. 12.42 volts. But here the indicator is not flashing. The backlight driver circuit has unboosted voltage of 13.3 volts. So there is no short circuit here. Now let's check the supply voltage of EEPROM IC. VCC 3.3 volts. Nice. Data input output pin 3.1 volts. Write protection pin 3.3 volts. Okay, so no voltage problem here. Also, I have published the details of all the bias voltages on this board here. To know the voltage details for V56 board, you can visit ornetpixels.com. The link is in the video description. However, when you see that its power indicator light is not flashing, check the collector voltage of this transistor. Then, if you see that 5 volts are not present at the collector, in that case, this transistor can be considered damaged. Then, if you see the transistor is not damaged, then what to do? Look carefully. The emitter of this transistor is connected to the ground or negative, and through this resistor, 5 volts will arrive at the collector, and from the base, this resistor is connected to pin 86 of the processor. If the processor is not working for any reason, the base will receive a 0.6 volt reverse bias. As a result, the collector will be 0 volts through the emitter. Now, let's try to understand why the processor is not working. Each processor has an internal clock pulse generator circuit. The clock signal synchronizes operations in the digital circuit. So, a processor becomes useless when it does not generate a clock signal. Now let's see why the clock pulses are not being generated here. Pin 49 and pin 48 of this processor, one is XTAL input and the other is XTAL output. Now look, pin 49 is connected to this terminal of the crystal oscillator and pin 48 is connected to this terminal, and two capacitors connected to the ground from pin 48 and pin 49. Okay, now look, if these two capacitors are damaged, clock pulses will not be generated inside the processor. So, if there is no other fault on the board, these two capacitors need to be changed. So, firstly connect two capacitors in a series like this. Then remove the two capacitors from the board. Then the connections will be exactly like this, and the middle one will be connected to the ground. Okay, now let's see what happens. Nice, the red indicator has now flashed. Now turn on the switch. Very nice. Now the backlight is also flashed.